Hello, welcome. This is Michael Lennon's guide introduction video. So, welcome, Michael. Where to
Hello.
even begin?
Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for hosting and having this platform where groups can show up like we're going to do over the next couple of days and really have a power fun event. Um, we what I'll be part of is kind of an event within the event, and the orientation is kind of what I'm going to talk about a little bit right now. And there are going to be a series of other events also, but um, what what inspired this was that there were two different communities, global communities, digital, similar to this one. They were like, hey, we should build a conversation in the world. And it's like, well, we'd like this other community. The first community was Pro Social World, which is a movement, you could say. It's an academic research endeavor. It is a movement of facilitation to build a transdisciplinary science of collaboration. It is projects, and it is a community. And so this community has been growing, and I don't know if it's 1 or 2,000. It's probably more than that at this point, but it has been making its dent in the universe. And a couple of months ago, one of the leaders from that community, who's a well-respected evolutionary biologist, was invited by a different community, the Deep Transformation Network, to have a conversation. And they both met on each other's podcast. They had a great time. They're like, our community should talk to each other. And then they started thinking of a different community, the Earth Regenerators. And we said, let's get going. Let's get this thing started. And so we were first going to do our own thing, and then we realized what you're doing here is already taking care of so many of the convening space, that we just wanted to show up and join you. And of course, that you were actually talking about something that was adjacent to what they're all talking about. In a sense, there's science, and there's a sense of the future, and of possibility, and of nature, but through different lenses. And so it's like, what happens when you put everybody in the room and they start discovering different vocabularies and different problems and different things that they're working on. And so we're very excited to bring our questions, to bring our wisdom, to bring our errors all into a conversation, to be on a kind of fun learning event both this weekend, and then to ideally support a spin-off group after the event. So among the topics that the three communities these may change, by the way, but they include, for example, from the pro-social community and the transdisciplinary science of cooperation. It can be what can be learned from complexity, and how complexity, for example, treats emergence, or how it treats networks and such, that might build and strengthen the science of cooperation. From the Deep Transformation Network, and I won't go through all of them. I should actually, in fact, let me just finish that point. Deep Transformation Network have been, in some ways, I would call them storyteller visionaries, in that they've been reverse engineering the future. They're like, what happens if in 2050 we've evolved to an ideal future utopian state, and how did the breakdowns of today transform into that? The breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. And so being very deliberate about really harnessing the suffering and the troubles of the world today, so that these are the manure that leads to future crops, if you will. And the Earth Regenerators are doing some of that exact same work around containers of whether it's watersheds or bioregions. They're really seeking new ways in which to convene communities, including digital communities such as the one that's here, to really be in more skillful and deliberate action on local place. And so there's really just a great opportunity for synergies across the board. So again, last thing I'll repeat is for this orienting for this orienting session that I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I have found. I'll kick that off, and I'll talk about both some of the things that I found fascinating about complexity science that helped me think more accurately about new classes of metrics, new ways of measuring, new ways of making sense, ways in which cause and effect might be broken from the way my own discipline originally used to think about it, and how different ways that complexity science looks at cause and effect could open up new theories of change, new design models, new ways of coordinating and collaborating to nudge the world. So it's very exciting. The bar is really, really low. These are about conversations. It's about creating groups that can get connected and just be available to each other, to kind of interrogate the complexity and the mystery of the world together. So with that, yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add? What is it going to be like to participate in this adventure? Where are people going to be coming in, through, and towards?
Well, as much as most of the people that we're inviting are all super smart people, it's really more important. And this is why we joined you, is to really bring space for the fun, for the interbeing, the interhumaning. You know, you're a wizard and are talking to some of the best technologists in the world about some things, and that's lovely. But we're really wanting to create that kind of space of, hey, what's going on with you? How do we just have conversations? So it sounds like a very low bar, but each of these sessions is led by questions intended to open up conversations. Instead of being smart answers, I'm the smartest one in the room, you're the smartest one in the room. It's like, what happens when we create this signaling system between us called a conversation? And how do we keep those conversations going over time in ways that, because there are many classes of conversations, like, can we as a collective intelligence really be deliberate about the ways in which we make sense together? And people like you are doing fantastic work on the technology side, but really to bring the interhumaning to it as deliberately as we do the algorithms and the technology.
Excellent. From either of you, any closing thoughts? All right. Well, see you all there. Thank you.